Hello everybody, welcome back. Let's have a look at the price action, work out if there's going to be any kind of turnaround in point soon, any little signals or signs of hopium or just general price action I suppose, and TA. Let's have a look at all of that. And just to let you all know, I actually have the coronavirus now, so I've got it. So have all my kids. We've all got it, and to be honest with you, we're all pretty much fine. To be fair, just a little. It's like a very mild cold so far. We'll see how it goes anyway. Right, so we're starting off with Bitcoin. We'll tell you what, we'll start off with Bitcoin on the daily. All right, so the daily shows that we came down to the bottom of this accumulation zone, which is a bit of a. I have these these horizontals quite flat, so yeah, it looks like I've marked this off perfectly so far. This is what it gives the it gives the impression that I called it to the absolute T, but I might not have done. It's a very fat line, but so far we're bouncing upon that line. Let's revisit that line all the way back historically. So we got turnaround points here, lots of support around here and a big bounce over here. We've also got tops over here, some tops over here, and also the major top around here. So that's why the line's there, and it's been there for a long period of time. So for those who might be just tuning in for the first time going, he just put that line there to make himself look awesome. It's not the case. I'm telling you, it's not the case. And to be honest with you, I am also expecting a potential another wick lower than this. But overall, we have touched that area. And for the record, as I said yesterday, I do have a buy order down at this level, but not at this level. It's $400 away. So my first buy order at these lower zones for Bitcoin is 40,600. Right, so just to get it out there, not for all of you to go copying me. Like I say, I'm happy to try and catch this knife. I've had these levels marked out for a long time now, so it would be rude for me to not mark them out and follow through with what I think is the bottom of an accumulation zone. So yeah, we came down to revisit that just today, so no big deal. Like I say, this has all been on the cards for us. Shouldn't take us by surprise. It's not that we've been expecting it to happen, although we have written into the very likely possibility that it would. For a while, it didn't look like it was going to, and now we have, and it happened quite quickly. So a lot of people will be looking at this and flapping around. I've noticed a few riots going on outside, people ripping their shirts off and screaming up at the sky. But really, there's no need to do any of that. If anything, it's a buying opportunity. When we were talking about how this dip could happen, and if it did, it would be a buying opportunity. Well, this is it now. So this is the buying opportunity. Now, obviously, there's no such thing as a dead cert. There's no 100% guarantee that we turn around from here. There is obviously the possibility that we break down. I talk about trading and TA and all of that nonsense that we look at here on a daily basis. About all it is like going to the bookies, gambling basically. Apart from what we're trying to do is narrow down the odds to the risk to the rewards. How much am I prepared to put down? Is this looking like a good place to try it? And I agree that it is down here. But we could easily have wicks lower than this. This goes back basically a year, this support trend line. So it's a 12-month-old support trend line, support and resistance trend line. If we break down below here, then to be honest with you, at this stage in this bull run, this bull market, this bull run, at this stage in the bull run, I would be very skeptical to see lower prices than this and continued downtrend. I would be, to be honest with you, I would be tempted to say the words bear market. I really would, and that's fair. That's fair. It doesn't mean that I have a particular bias. We have, like I say, it's all about risk reward. And if we did start breaking down below here and closing candle bodies, I'll show you in a minute on a monthly chart where I'd get particularly worried. But yeah, we could think about the words bear market and what that might imply. But at the moment, and again, this goes back to the weekly that we've been looking at. Higher highs, higher lows, still in this current situation is still the case. But if we start to close candle bodies below 36, especially 35, definitely it'll be over. So we're going to have a quick look at the monthly chart on Bitcoin. So first time in a while that we've had 3 red months. Now this month is still early. We're only 7th. This could turn around at any point, so it doesn't necessarily need to close on a red. We're 7 days in. It's no big deal. But at the moment, yes, three red candles like this one. 1, 2, 3. This was a lot worse. Look at the size of that dump. This is a horrendous size dump from the top to the bottom here. 3 months went by, 54% retrace. Okay, let's get this one from here to the bottom. Ooh, not a fib. What am I doing? That's the coronavirus for you. It's affecting my judgment. It's affecting my thought process. 40% so far. So we had a higher high, and so far I've got higher lows. It's not as bad as the previous dump, right? This is more of a standard consolidation, which has been pushed down by outside forces. First force being the old virus, the one that I'm sitting here talking to you with, and the other is the major other player is their tapering. So the inflation across the board for all governments, they're all suffering higher inflation than they thought was going to happen, and so they're all trying to combat that. And by doing that, their currencies, whether it's the dollar, the pound, or well, maybe even the euro, we'll have to wait and see. But they will go up in value as they basically try to slow the money printing down. And that is a bad news, mainly for, if you think about it from the dollar's perspective, because crypto is traded with crypto dollars, isn't it? So it's driven by, the dollar's strength or weakness. There's a large implication to a dollar strength or a weak dollar for crypto, because stable coins are stable dollars, aren't they? Which obviously aren't stable. And if you look at the Dixie, it's not stable. It's never really been stable. It's a funny thing to say, but yeah, we're consolidating now. It would appear we're consolidating. Although we do have an end of trend signal, which was here and over here with the Ichimoku cloud. And I don't want to bore you to death. I talk about it all the time, but basically, if the Chiku span touches the price action here, or we get a blue crossing the red, that basically says this trend, which began when the opposite happened, which was here, is over. So this technically is over. However, if we were to look at this, what does it look like to you? To me, it looks like a bit of a consolidation. It would not surprise me at all if we start pushing up towards the 97 zone, which is more or less where we're trying to get rejected from. And that is the peak prior to the pandemic pop, basically. So we had a nice big rally. I mean, the dollar is, like I say, it's not stable at all, is it? This is just the daily. We go to the monthly, we can see a very different picture, which is higher highs, lower lows. And so over a greater period of time, over decades, it's going to devalue even more, which is obviously the main reason for people like Michael Saylor and everybody who is buying large institutional chunks of Bitcoin, because they see that. And that is the nature of it. And when you hear about you see all these people on Twitter or whatever going, the dollar is going to die by Bitcoin. I often see that there's like an expectation that the dollar's going to die in the next half an hour, which is not the case. I mean, all currencies devalue over time. That's the nature of them. They all do that because that's how they're designed. They're not designed on purpose to do that. But if you just keep printing money all the time, which we have to because there's more people and needs more money now, blah blah blah, then of course it's going to keep going down. All currencies go down, and this is the dollar, which is technically one of the stronger ones. It's the world reserve currency. Even that continues to go down over time. So yeah, Michael Saylor is correct in what he says. So is Max Kaiser. They're all correct. But the projection for this is not for another 10, 20 years. You see, so when it comes to, I don't know why I went to the hourly, but when it comes to expecting the dollar to die, a week on Thursday, it's not going to happen. Do you know what I mean? In fact, if anything, it's going to go up a week on Thursday. Is what it looks like to me. So with that, out of the way, we are waiting for the dollar to reach a particular peak on this run. But with all the fundamentals that are going into the tapering of the money printing, it doesn't look like it's going to happen anytime soon on a fundamental level. On a chart basis, 97 could be the case, and if that is the case, then it would allow for this downtrend for stocks, commodities. Well, maybe not commodities. I mean, oil looks like it's going to tear up to 100, to be fair. But with crypto especially, the pressure is on until the floodgates of dollars are open again and the tapering has changed. But there is a silver lining, and again, these are things that can't be accounted for on the charts, but they're worth talking about because this big dump here was not accounted for on the charts, although we kind of predicted it because we recognised that there is a similar environment, almost like a deja vu event taking place to those who were around here when the Megatron virus finally broke out for the very first time, and there was a massive panic sell-off in the markets. So it's sometimes thinking outside of the box is what's going to get you the best gains or preserve your current unrealized gains. So this again is this one. This is the baby brother. The difference so far though is that when the big dump happened in March, the money printers got turned on. After this dump, the money printers have been turned off, and so we haven't had the immediate rise in value because, well, fundamentally, the dollar strength is increasing because the money printers have been turned off, which is the opposite of what happened in the last dump. But the reason they've turned them off is because they predict a strong economy. And I can tell you now that if everybody's catching what I've got right now, and my kids have got right now, there's no reason to close economies down. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. You know, if I had a real job, you know, unlike what it is I'm doing right now, which, you know, technically is, you know, it's my money, this is my income, but I wouldn't call it a real job. But if I had to go to work today, I would. You know, if I was allowed to. There's really nothing stopping me. I've had a lot worse colds than this. Now, I'm not saying that's not going to be the case for everybody. Everybody's going to be different. Do you know what I mean? I mean, I've had 2 jabs, and so I'm sure that's played a part. I eat pretty healthy and all this lot, but I mean, generally speaking, there's no reason to close these economies down. And so, their decision to turn these money printers off would appear to be honestly be the right thing to do, because I don't think there's any reason to start closing economies down. Yeah, but they can be careful, but the economy should go. And so they're right. I believe that they're right in what they're saying, is that the economy can handle this and it will turn around, and that's what they're expecting. And to be honest with you, that's what I'm predicting as well. The only difference is in the short term, the fact that the dollar is basically increasing in value as a result of the tapering, and the uncertainty of still, I guess, this Megatron virus, I suppose, is allowing for all these assets to continue to go down, because there's just this big grey area of what's going to happen next. But my expectation is that economies will continue going. Lockdowns, they won't happen. They just won't happen. There's no need for them to happen. They can't. They couldn't enforce it, I think, in Britain anyway. Not now. I think we've all had enough of it. But it's also the right thing to do. It's just to carry on as normal. And you will see that economies will actually start to perk up, regardless of the money printers being on or off. And so hopefully we'll go into what would be a genuinely healthy financial economic recovery. What we're seeing now is I suppose the hangover after the party, which is what's been going on all this time. Anyway, I think this video's gone on quite long enough. But if we just go to the 4 hourly, just very briefly, and again, this is just a little bit of hopium for the TA, because you've got to talk about TA sometimes, haven't we? You can't just not talk about TA. If we zoom right into the current, most recent dump, we've got a lower high and a higher low. So this is a bullish divergence in the making. So if we do come down with another wick, over the next day or two, on the 4 hourly, and still print another higher low on this, I think that would mark potentially the best opportunity for a long, actually. And again, I'm not much for derivatives, but we are at the bottom. We have already hit the absolute bottom of what I consider to be the general accumulation zone. Doesn't mean that we can't wick lower than that. If we were to wick lower than that, then I think it would be opportunity for me, at least anyway, to try along. For you guys, I wouldn't really recommend you do that sort of thing unless you know what you're doing. So, it's not. Don't try derivatives if you've never done it before. And I'm not your financial advisor, so this could all completely go wrong. And I'm more of a spot trader than anything else, because this is crypto at the end of the day. We don't really need derivatives. I mean, it's just madness, really, if you think about it. The gains that you make on crypto, just in general. I mean, that's the beauty of it, isn't it? Really, that's what attracts us all to it. And I think what people fail to recognise is that volatility doesn't just move up, it does move down as well. So it's all relative to your entry point. And again, I've been in this game for several years, quite a few years now. And so, yeah, entry points for me are, believe it or not, for the most part, all still in profit. And I think it's only the ICP trade which isn't. And actually, it's up versus its Satoshi pair. And so technically, as far as my trade is concerned, it's in profit versus its Bitcoin pair, which is the main thing. Anyway, we'll look at all of those altcoins later. And I'll leave this video with you now. It's a very long, drawn-out, boring video, I think. But hopefully, you can understand what it is that I'm saying, rather than just focusing on the charts. And the charts, again, are showing areas of major support and potential bullish divergence on a 4 hourly if we wick down below this area. On a fundamental level, I think this year is still going to be generally up. But remember, you've all had hangovers before. They're not pleasant, and they can go on for a prolonged period of time, and that's exactly what's going on right now. We're in the hangover period of the in the wake of the of the money printers being turned on because of that economic collapse due to the Megatron virus. Right, I'll leave it with you there, guys. But thanks for watching. Hope you have a nice day. Join the Telegram, Patreon, and whatever else you need. All my links in the description below. Anything else that you find that says that anything to do with me is probably not going to be me. It'll be some scammer of some form. Right, thanks for watching, guys. Take it easy.